It is just after Thursday Night Football as I am recording this. The interviews were just finished, and I know what you might be thinking. Mike, how is it just after Thursday Night Football, but it's daytime where you're at? Well, currently I'm in Dubai. More specifically, I'm in Jumeirah Beach. Check out these views, man. It's actually insane. I mean, I'm trying to get you guys the city, but could you guys see it? But honestly, it's been really awesome coming out here, checking out other parts of the world. And it's been a lot of fun trying to figure out how to get you guys the content that I want to get you guys, because I can't help but make videos whenever I see stuff like what we just watched on Thursday Night Football. And there's a lot of varying analysis as a result of what we just watched. You have people calling for Zach Wilson's head. You're seeing parallels being drawn to Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell. And obviously when I see that, I have to sit down and make a video for you guys. So before we get to the content, man, if you guys want to support the grind, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. If you want to see what I'm up to, if you want to see my travels and all of that good stuff, make sure you're following me on Instagram and Twitter. Now that we get all of that out of the way, break! This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. You guys know PrizePicks has been my latest obsession because I live in California. There's no way that you could gamble on games in California, so the best way you could get action on games is through PrizePicks. And ever since I partnered with them, we've been having a lot of fun. And before we get to the latest promo, I want to give a huge shout out to my man, Nasri Hasbun, who tweeted me a 6-legged pick that he hit on as a result of our last promo, which means he 25x'd his money. And that's freaking awesome. Hopefully more of my subs hit this big as a result of today's promo. As a matter of fact, it's not only today's promo, because from this day and on until Christmas Day, PrizePicks is releasing a brand new promo every day, and it's called Picksmas. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use my promo code Mikerophone to get up to a $100 deposit match, and then just log into PrizePicks each and every day to see what they're offering for that day. Since they're offering a brand new promo each and every day, I'm probably going to be posting my picks onto my Instagram story. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I literally play PrizePicks each and every day. So huge shout out to PrizePicks for the sponsorship. Make sure you sign up with my promo code Mikerophone or the link in the description down below. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Yeah, I'm back in my hotel room. Let me know if you guys prefer me recording outdoors or indoors. I am happy to give you guys whichever you prefer, because clearly this is not my normal studio. The Zach Wilson story is something that we have been covering extensively on this channel from the very beginning, when he told the media that he didn't feel like he felt like he owed anything to his remarkable defense despite him playing really well against the New England Patriots, to the Mike White saga, which I can't go back and summarize all of that for you guys because this video would easily be over 30 minutes long. But the New York Jets handed the reins to Mike White. It seemed like the entire New York Jets team rallied around Mike White, even wearing Mike White merchandise. And to be honest, Mike White just did everything right. I mean, from showing love to his teammates all the way to the fact that this man went to 10 different doctors to get second opinions whenever he cracked his ribs, and eventually got sent to the hospital as a result of his game versus the Buffalo Bills. This opened up a window of opportunity for Zach Wilson to potentially take back the starting QB job again. And you have to understand, the New York Jets want Zach Wilson to be their starting quarterback. They just want him to be a good quarterback as their starting quarterback. When you spend a number 2 overall pick on any player, you obviously want him to succeed, especially when you had the opportunity to tank properly 2 years ago, but decided to beat the Los Angeles Rams to screw yourselves out of the number 1 overall pick and get the number 2 overall pick instead. I remember thinking to myself at the time that the New York Jets beat the Los Angeles Rams that, okay, Maybe they want to stick to Sam Darnold. Maybe they don't even want to take a quarterback. After all, Sam Darnold was still on a rookie scale contract, and there are other aspects of the New York Jets that could have been improved. So when they decided to not only screw themselves out of the opportunity to draft Trevor Lawrence, but also took a quarterback at the number 2 overall pick, I was dumbfounded. But alas, the decision was the decision, and to be honest, there's a lot of people that agreed with the New York Jets decision. One of the individuals that are the most famous for their praise for Zach Wilson is none other than Chris Sims. So take a look at this, man. Chris Sims' power rankings for his quarterbacks in the 2021 NFL draft started with Zach Wilson at the number 1 overall pick, then Trevor Lawrence, then Mac Jones, then Kellen Mond before he got to Justin Fields and Trey Lance. Now I know you guys might be thinking, oh my god, what a horrific analyst, who would ever even think of that? Trevor Lawrence was clear number 1. For me, by the way, for the record, it was Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, then Zach Wilson. And just because Trey Lance and Zach Wilson were all the way at the bottom doesn't necessarily mean that they can't be good quarterbacks. I just felt like in terms of most complete players, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields showed me the most, at least at the collegiate level. By the way, Chris Sims is still dying on this hill. And ultimately, this one moment in NFL history, the fact that the New York Jets decided to beat the Los Angeles Rams during the 2020 to 2021 season, altered the course of their history. I mean, imagine this New York Jets team if they had Trevor Lawrence at the helm. Imagine if Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, Corey Davis, CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin all had Trevor Lawrence, and on the defense you had players like Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, CJ Mosley, with Robert Saleh as the coach. Obviously, this team would be in a significantly different situation. A team that started 5-2 to begin the season ended up losing 6 of their last 8 games, and currently the playoffs seems to be a pipe dream for them. And through it all, man, it just seems like this team has done a lot of wrong, both on the player evaluation level, but also on the level of developing Zach Wilson into the quarterback that he has the potential to become. There's memes about the fact that Zach Wilson was drafted number 2 overall just because of this one throw he made during the combine, where people instantly pegged him as the next coming of Patrick Mahomes. But obviously throughout the season, there has been questions about Zach Wilson's leadership, and now as a result of the Mike White debacle, he's clearly in a situation where he needs to win his team back. And he tried to do that, by the way, just a couple days ago by buying his entire offensive line scooters. So check out this clip and tell me if this isn't the most uncomfortable clip you've ever seen.
Oh man, I appreciate you, man.
Somebody appreciates that.
I mean, you could tell, man, Zach Wilson is just uncomfortably trying to win back his team, and I mean, I want to root for the guy. I never want someone to fail. It's not like the media all of a sudden turned on him, because throughout the offseason, they were making jokes about how he's a dog and how he's a MILF hunter and whatnot. So it's not like the media has it out for him. It's just so far, Zach Wilson has been so atrocious on the field and such a horrible leader off of the field that I could understand why fans in the media are turning on him. So if you happen to miss Thursday Night Football, it was a fairly significant game because it reminded New York Jets fans of what could have been, because they were facing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who ended up drafting Trevor Lawrence, who, by the way, is starting to look more and more like the player that he was promised to be. And I never doubted it from the moment he entered the NFL. And it started out fairly bad for the New York Jets and remarkably for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars were picking apart the New York Jets defense, which is what they were known for. And then on top of that, when you look at what the New York Jets did to answer back in the first half, it's pretty ugly. I mean, their first possession resulted in a field goal despite generating -3 yards, and then it was a punt, and another interception. Zach Wilson looked horrific out there versus a team that was ranked 25th in the NFL in pass defense. And then you look at Trevor Lawrence, who arguably has the same weapons, in my opinion, at least at the same tier as Zach Wilson, or maybe a little bit worse. You could really make either argument. Trevor Lawrence has Travis Etienne, Evan Ingram, Dan Arnold, Christian Kirk, DJ Chark, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, whereas Zach Wilson has Garrett Wilson, who is a front runner to be the rookie of the year, Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, CJ Uzomah, and Tyler Conklin. I mean, they're fairly neck and neck, if you ask me, maybe slight advantage to the Jaguars, but they're both playing in similar similar conditions, and Trevor Lawrence needs to go up against the New York Jets defense, which is several orders of magnitude better than the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. And I don't think anyone is going to disagree with that. Throughout the first half, all of Zach Wilson's flaws came to light once again. And one of the most popular takes earlier on that day was the fact that Zach Wilson misses way too many layups and easy throws. And that was exemplified in the first quarter. I mean, look at this slant that he misses to Garrett Wilson. This should have been an interception. You could even see the Jaguars defense being frustrated at the fact that they missed this one. And Zach Wilson was plagued by accuracy issues all game long. It got to the point where at the end of the first half, New York Jets fans were letting Zach Wilson have it. I mean, listen to this.
Well. Audio will tell you all you need to.
So obviously, New York Jets fans are clearly not happy with Zach Wilson, but he has another opportunity to shine when he gets the ball during the second half to try to put the New York Jets in a situation where they could compete against the #1 overall pick of the 2021 NFL Draft. And once again, Zach Wilson showed his biggest problem. I mean, completely missing his tight end over here once again. Ironically, following this throw, you would see a fan holding up an Aaron Rodgers jersey, which I guess you could say is a little bit of foreshadowing, but I have never heard of a rumor that linked Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets, at least not yet. Now, this is where the story gets even crazier, because Zach Wilson would not get replaced by Mike White. He wouldn't get replaced by Joe Flacco, who was the third stringer. He would get replaced by Chris Streveler, who had a pretty good preseason, by the way. But apart from that, you've never really heard of the guy. So who is Chris Streveler? Well, my buddies J&D Productions tweeted out this picture to give you an idea of who this human is. Chris Streveler played in the CFL for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, then played for the Arizona Cardinals before going to the Baltimore Ravens and Miami Dolphins practice squad, and then currently was a New York Jets fourth string quarterback. And he had his opportunity to shine. And I think this was the worst thing the New York Jets could have done. I mean, honestly, I would say that this is the worst decision Robert Saleh has made, because if you're trying to hype up your #2 overall pick, if you're trying to boost his confidence at all whatsoever, inserting your fourth string quarterback and having him outperform your #2 overall pick is the worst thing you could have possibly done. I understand trying to win the game so you could have Mike White come back in and try to make a push for the playoffs, which, by the way, sounds absurd if you think about it, because it is absurd. But from a development perspective, if you're trying to boost the confidence of Zach Wilson, that is the worst thing you could have done. And ultimately, the result of it was Chris Streveler outperformed Zach Wilson 8 for 12. He was able to get 80 passing yards, 37 rush yards. I mean, completely outperforming Zach Wilson, and even put the New York Jets in a situation to score. I mean, this story just gets crazier and crazier. And this is where it gets even worse. Now you're seeing people draw parallels between Zach Wilson and former draft busts. I mean, check this out. Fewest touchdown passes by top 2 picks in their first 21 starts. So there's some Hall of Famers in here, by the way, like Terry Bradshaw and Troy Aikman. If you guys didn't know, Troy Aikman had a very, very rough start to his career, and Terry Bradshaw played in the NFL a very long time ago, so I could obviously understand why it took him a minute to get started. But dude, Derek Carr, I think they mean David Carr, because they're saying fewest TD passes by top 2 picks, so I'm assuming that's supposed to be David Carr because Derek Carr was a second-round pick. Jamarcus Russell and Zach Wilson and Ryan Leaf all on a list together is just not a good look. But dude, it does not stop there. I mean, there's even more parallels that just make him look worse and worse. Like in 2021, he had a 55.5% completion percentage, dead last in the NFL. In 2022, he had a 54.9% completion percentage, also dead last in the NFL. And probably my favorite one that I actually posted onto my Instagram story is this. Throughout their first 22 career starts, Zach Wilson won 8 games, lost 14 games, had a 70.9 pass rating, 15 touchdowns, and 6.44 yards per attempt. Jamarcus Russell won 7 games, lost 15 games, had a 70.8 pass rating, 16 passing touchdowns, and 6.34 yards per attempt. I just want to make something clear. I don't think this all falls on Zach Wilson. I think it's a combination of his team and his coaching staff doing him no favors in trying to get him prepared for these big moments, but also he just finds himself in a very unfortunate circumstance where he needed to develop very, very quickly because this year his team had playoff aspirations. And throughout the year, you saw multiple instances of Zach Wilson's team just not really believing in him. From Garrett Wilson calling out Zach Wilson's offense, saying it was horrific and historically bad, all the way to tonight's game. And what's even more bizarre is how Robert Saleh is handling this situation. Following the game, you would think that Zach Wilson has played his final snap for the New York Jets and that it's over. But Robert Saleh doesn't agree. This is what he had to say. Originally, he didn't intend to bench Zach Wilson. The goal was to get the run game going by bringing in Streveler, and they eventually opted to stick with him once they realized the offense got a spark. We haven't seen the last of Zach Wilson. And to Zach Wilson's credit, he actually handled this situation a little bit better. I mean, at least he held himself accountable for looking this bad on primetime football, saying that I don't blame the fans for booing him. We have a passionate fan base and they're here to watch us score touchdowns and we aren't doing that. And he also acknowledged in the locker room that he wasn't good enough, at least for the game on Thursday Night Football. So where do the New York Jets go from here? I don't think you could officially punt on Zach Wilson, unfortunately. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not pointing the blame finger 100% at the coaching staff, but I'm not necessarily saying this is all on Zach Wilson either. I think we're in a situation where Zach Wilson has a lot of developing to do and is not in a situation or in an environment that is trying to develop him. You're watching Robert Saleh consistently elect for a quick fix at the QB position in a desperate attempt to try to sneak into the playoffs. And by doing that, he's essentially sacrificing Zach Wilson's development. I mean, if Zach Wilson is not the answer at QB, then stop putting him in. Don't bench him for a couple of weeks and then put him back in and then say you're not giving up on him and then put in your fourth string quarterback and then say you're not giving up on Zach Wilson again. I mean, there needs to be consistency. If you want to ride with your player that is underperforming, then you got to ride with him. You got to consistently suffer through those bad Zach Wilson games and try to go through film with him and try to improve his game week by week. At the end of the day, this could be the end of Zach Wilson, but I don't think it is. I think it's the end of Zach Wilson if he comes back at the start of next year and underperforms once again. If you see no improvement in his game whatsoever, and if he's still the same inaccurate quarterback that is struggling to lead this franchise, then obviously the New York Jets will go elsewhere. I also wouldn't be surprised if the Jets decided to take another quarterback, maybe in the third or fourth round in the NFL draft. Not that they should, but it's something that I could see them doing. So I want to get your opinion in the comment section down below. Who are you blaming the failures of Zach Wilson on? I would honestly say it's 50-50 between the coaching staff and Zach Wilson, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. Do you think this is Zach Wilson's final season as a New York Jet? If not, how long do you think he'll be a Jet for? And if so, who do you think replaces Zach Wilson as quarterback next year? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.